Hey man, what's up? What's happening? You already know who it is and what it is. It's your boy Nephew Q, host of the world's most dangerous sports show, Beyond the Game, here to continue giving you my Buccaneer breakdown report for no place for bias. But before I get into all of that, I need everybody to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, KY Beyond the Game. If you can't sit down and watch us on YouTube, you can download the podcast on all major podcast streaming platforms and listen to us on there as well. But anyways, let's get down to the Buccaneer breakdown report. Now, Tampa Bay just came off of another loss, back-to-back losses, this time to the Kansas City Chiefs, 41-31. So let's talk about what took place during this matchup. As I have, for those who are watching on YouTube, I have the highlights playing in the background. But anyways, this game right here, it started off with a bang for Kansas City Chiefs. As soon as we kicked the ball, as soon as Kansas City kicked the ball off to us to open up the first quarter, Rachaad White, the rookie running back, fumbles on the opening kickoff, as you can see right here in the background, and Kansas City recovers it, and they are on their own 21-yard line. They go down, score 7-0, just that quick, that easy, and they scored in two plays. Their first play was a run play, then, as you see in the background, they scored off of this, and then when we get the ball again, Tom Brady does move the ball down the field, which has been an issue the prior three games with the offense being stagnant. He did move the ball down the field. Leonard Fournette had a big catch for 25 yards, but they had to settle for a field goal, which made the game 7-3 at that point. And then the Chiefs get the ball, and then they score on their second drive. So now we down 14-3 already. And this is in the first quarter. We down 14-3, just like that. Second quarter kicks off. The Chiefs score on their third straight drive with the MaHomes flip pass. You know, he was running to the end zone. He was getting tackled, and he kind of like pushed it up and threw it into the end zone. And it made the score 21-3 at this point at the second quarter. Now, the Buccaneers offense does come alive a little bit in the second quarter as Tom Brady gets the ball down the field. He gives it to Mike Evans for a touchdown to make the score 21-10 in the second quarter. During the second quarter also, the Chiefs can't convert on a 4th and 1. You know, Clyde, Pat MaHomes tried to dump it over to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He catches it, but he actually doesn't catch it, but he drops the ball. We get the ball, turnover and down. So this is our time to get the momentum. We're down 21-10 at this point. We can get the ball, go down the score. Worst case scenario, we're down 21-13. Best case scenario, we're down 21-14. But you know what happens on the very first possession? Tom Brady gets sacked and he fumbles the ball, and Kansas City recovers it. They get the ball right back and they go down the field and they score, and it makes the score 28-10 at this point. But then, you know, we get the ball back. Mike Evans catches a pass in the end zone for his second touchdown of the game. Shout out to Mike Evans, man. It's because of you, Mike Evans. My team lost the game, but because of you, Mike Evans, I won fantasy football because you had a huge game against the Kansas City Chiefs, which I'll get into that in a second. But Mike Evans catches his second touchdown before the half to make the score 28-17. The third quarter comes out. Now the second half, the Tampa Bay Bucks defense played a little bit better, as in the third quarter, the Chiefs are held to a field goal on their opening drive to make the score 31-17. Now, at this point in the game, Tom Brady threw what was then a record for Tom Brady, 26 straight pass attempts. But we ultimately didn't score. Now Kansas City gets the ball again, and they go down to score, make the score 38-17. Tom Brady gets the ball. Tom Brady and the Bucks gets the ball. As you can see, you know, there's the flip play I was talking about by Pat MaHomes, which was crazy. But anyways, Rachaad White gets a rushing touchdown to make the score 38-24 at the end of the third quarter. The fourth quarter comes, and the problem with this game is the defense cannot get off the field. Pat MaHomes was converting third downs. Like, I think he was like 10 for 12 in this game of converting third down conversions. But the Chiefs O-line was great during this matchup. Give credit to them. I mean, Pat MaHomes faced very little pressure during this matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs kick a field goal in the fourth quarter, make it 41-24. Sean Murphy Bunting picks off a pass from Pat MaHomes in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes and 42 seconds left. Brady goes down the field, passes to Leonard Fournette, make the score 41-31, and that was pretty much the ball game at that point. But let's talk about what happened during this game. Is that The Kansas City Chiefs scored 4 touchdowns in the first half. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense up until that game had only given up 3 touchdowns all season long. And Pat MaHomes comes in and, well, not Pat MaHomes, the Kansas City Chiefs come in, they score 4 touchdowns in the first half. So the Tampa Bay defense really let the team down because the defense has been carrying the team thus far this season. But in this matchup right here, they just could not contain Pat MaHomes. And in any other matchup, shout out to my boy Smith Mello. He brought this to my attention. He said in any other matchup, if Tampa Bay scores 31 points, they're probably beating the opposing team. But just because it's the Kansas City Chiefs and they have so much firepower, they lost by, 41-31. And if you go back to last week's episode, I said the Tampa Bay Bucks just did not have the firepower to match up to the Kansas City Chiefs at this point during the season. Now, the prediction I gave was 24-17 Kansas City. I did not see Kansas City putting up 41 points on Tampa Bay's defense because I thought Tampa Bay defense was just that great this season, was just that good this season. But they had a relapse in this game, and Pat MaHomes picked them apart during this matchup as Pat MaHomes went for 23 for 37, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Tampa Bay's rush defense was not there as Clyde Edwards-Helaire rushed for 19 times for 92 yards, 1 touchdown. He was getting damn near 5 yards a clip when he was rushing the ball. Travis Kelce, he had a big game. He had 9 receptions for 92 yards and a touchdown. For Tampa Bay, Tom Brady was 39 for 52, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mike Evans, like I mentioned earlier, had a huge game. He had 8 receptions for 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin made a return as he had 7 receptions for 59 yards in this matchup. But yeah, so my thoughts on to recap, like I mentioned in last week's episode, I figured Tampa Bay was going to lose this matchup, but I did not expect Kansas City to put up 41 points on the Tampa Bay Bucks because I thought their defense was just that good. But in this matchup, Tampa Bay's defense could not get off the field. Now, that is not the reason why they lost, because the Tampa Bay offense, the opening drive was a fumble. Tom Brady fumbled when they could have recaptured the momentum. So it wasn't just primarily on the defense. So I'm not going to put it on the defense. The offense should have carried their weight, although the good takeaway I got from this is that the offense finally showed some signs of life by putting up 31 points in this matchup, and Tom Brady throwing 2 touchdowns in this matchup. So 3 touchdowns, I'm sorry. So the offense did show some signs of life. And like I mentioned, I think it was week 2 when I said, I expected the offense to progress as the season goes. We're finally getting everybody healthy. Julio Jones, if he can get healthy. Mike Evans, he just was suspended. Chris Godwin, he had the hamstring injury. So we can get our wide receiver core healthy. We'll be okay moving on. But anyway, so let's talk about this matchup we have coming up against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Atlanta Falcons is a NFC South Division foe, and they have Marcus Mariota and all of that going on. And so here's my take. So let's talk about, because Atlanta Falcons just did they lose? Yeah, they just lost to they beat the Cleveland Browns 23-20. I'm sorry, they beat the Cleveland Browns 23-20. But so the Falcons coming into this matchup, on the offensive side of the ball, they're ranked 14th in total offensive yards per game. They're ranked 28th in passing yards per game with 181 yards, 4th in rushing yards per game with 168th, and they rank 8th in points per game, which is 25 points per game. Then on the defensive side of the ball, the Atlanta Falcons are 24th. They rank 24th as their defense gives up 386 yards per game. They rank 24th as they in passing, as the defense gives up 260 passing yards per game. They're ranked 20th in rush defense as they give up 126 rushing yards per game. And they're 26th in scoring as that defense gives up 25 points per game. So they score 25 points per game and they give up 25 points per game. So you already can see that's a recipe for disaster moving forward. But anyways, the Tampa Bay Bucks coming into this matchup, they on the offensive side of the ball, they're ranked 24th in total yards per game with 317, 11th in passing yards per game with 251. Now, the rush game is pathetic. Now, the Cowboys game, we came out like gangbusters and was running. Leonard Fournette was running everybody over. But since then, it's APB out on Leonard Fournette. We don't know where he is at. as the Tampa Bay Bucks ranked 31st in rushing offense with a measly, pathetic 65 rushing yards per game. I mean, I don't know what the hell that is and who they expect to be rushing the ball like that. But anyways, and then they're 15th in points per game, which they average 20 points per game. Now, on the defensive side of the ball for the Tampa Bay Bucks, they rank 8th in total defense, as the defense only gives up 321 yards per game. 14th in pass defense, as they give up 214 passing yards per game. 12th in rushing defense, as they only give up 106 rushing yards per game. And 6th in points per game, as they hold opponents to an average of 17 points per game coming into this matchup. Now, if you go back and watch last week's episode, I said that the team will get back on track versus the Atlanta Falcons in this matchup. They play Sunday at 1:00. So let me just cut the shit. Marcus Mariota is not Patrick MaHomes, okay? They average 181 passing yards per game. Marcus Mariota is not about to carve up our defense with his arm. Now, would he beat her? Will he change the game with his legs? Absolutely, because he's a scrambling quarterback. But all we're going to do is play containment, keep him in the pocket, and force Marcus Mariota to beat us with his arm. And at 181 passing yards per game, I do not expect him to beat us passing the ball. Now, their rushing offense does bother me a little bit, as they rush for 168 yards per game, but our rush defense is giving up 106 yards per game. So I do expect our rush defense to come back. I do expect Tampa Bay as a team. This will be the first game that you see Tampa Bay as a team put together a good game where the offense is doing good and the defense is playing well. This is the game that they needed after the 2-game losing streak to get them back on track. So against the Atlanta Falcons, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning this matchup. Oh, let me throw something out there. I like that 17 score. I don't know why I give everybody 17. But in this matchup, let me get 28 Tampa Bay, Atlanta Falcons 14. I just don't think the Atlanta Falcons have enough. Kyle Pitts will be a problem for us, but I think Levante David, Devin White, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, and Shaquille Barrett will kind of neutralize that, as that seems to be their only real weapon. I mean, Cordell Patterson, which I think he is out for this game, would have been an issue, but I think he's out for this matchup. So Marcus Mariota and Kyle Pitts is not going to beat Tampa Bay, in my opinion. So let me get Tampa Bay 28-14 against the Atlanta Falcons in this matchup. We get back on track, get one game above 500 going into the next week after that. So that's been my Buccaneer Breakdown report for No Place for Bias. Remember to like, share, and comment on the YouTube channel, KY Beyond the Game, or Buccaneer Breakdown as well. And like I mentioned earlier, if you can't sit down and watch us on YouTube, you can listen to us and download us on all major podcast streaming platforms. And that's been my time right now, and I've already taken up too much of yours as it is. As you see touchdown from Tampa Bay in the background if you're watching on the YouTube channel. And as always, I want you to treat somebody how you want somebody to treat your mama. And I'm up at this thing, y'all. Peace.